This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, an animal rights group asked Otago University to have a heart this Valentine's Day. 500 scientists are in Queenstown to study and discuss the smallest of particles in their field of nanotechnology. And after yesterday's extreme weather event, several of Dunedin's essential services remain closed or operate under reduced capacities. And a very good evening and happy Valentine's Day. I'm Craig Story. An unusual Valentine's Day gift arrived on the steps of Otago University's Clock Tower building today. The Anti-Vivisection Society made the delivery in a protest against the development of Otago University's proposed animal laboratory.
It's a Valentine's Day they hope he'll never forget. Instead of roses and chocolates, boxes painted with bloody animal prints left on the steps. I'm Roselle LeBone. Here at the Clock Tower at Otago University, the Anti-Vivisection Society are about to arrive with cards and gifts for Richard Blakely in protest of the proposed animal testing lab. The society travelled from Christchurch to show their distaste for the $50 million lab development. The group says Professor Blakey is a proponent of the lab.
So we wanted to give him a Valentine today from the 13,000 animals that were used in the Otago Animal Lab in 2015, just to remind him of every individual life that he is condemning by promoting a new animal lab.
They waited for their Valentine to arrive with their boxes, one for each type of animal used by the university for research, testing and teaching. The Society says the number of animals used in 2015 exceeded 13,500 and the vast majority of these were subsequently killed. They are asking the university to move its focus from animal testing to newer technologies.
When it comes to medical research, we should be looking at human-based research, we should be looking at human cells, human tissues. There are so many amazing better, more relevant techniques out there, and there's also a lot of space for more to be developed, which is what the university could be doing. They could be striving to be like the Johns Hopkins Centre for Alternatives in the States, but instead they're going backwards.
So what does vivisection really mean for animals?
The word comes from to mean cutting something that's alive, so I think that really illustrates how ruthless vivisection really is.
Professor Richard Blakey says in a statement for The South Today, the Animal Lab has helped develop painkillers, anaesthetics, asthma inhalers and insulin, and is responsible for rising numbers of people surviving cancer. He says Otago's animal-based research is subject to ethical oversight from animal ethics committees, and the university is committed to reducing the use of animals and finding alternatives wherever possible. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
Work has begun in earnest to open State Highway 1 between Kaikoura and Picton. Helicopters were at work on Sunday, sluicing slips that block the highway and removing blocks as well. This will make it safer for contractors to start clearing tons of material brought down in the November the 14th 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Once all the slips are cleared, work will start on repairing and rebuilding rail networks to restore full access before Christmas. Queenstown is hosting more than 500 scientists from all around the world for the biggest advanced materials and nanotechnology conference in the Southern Hemisphere. The AMN8 conference focuses on the latest research in advanced materials and nanotechnology. Mina Amso was there.
The world's top female scientists checked into the Millennium Hotel earlier this week, not only to talk about advanced materials and nanotechnology, but to highlight the role of women in such evolving and fascinating field.
Hello, Mina Amso in Millennium Hotel in Queenstown. This is where the AMN8 conference is taking place this week. It is the biggest conference in the year that it runs in the Southern Hemisphere that focuses on material science and nanotechnology.
Italian scientist Silvia Giordani's curiosity is the #1 driving force that got her into the science field. She is scheduled to talk tonight about her most significant project yet.
I'm synthesizing new nanoparticles with properties that can help medical problems. So for me that is very exciting because I see that I'm not just doing this just because I'm curious, which again, I love curiosity, but also I see the application now.
Materials science professor Natalie Shingling specializes in polymer plastics. She says plastics which help store energy are more useful to the population.
I will talk about new types of plastics. So plastics have often a bit of a bad reputation because you hear they pollute the seas, etc. What in our group we try to work on is to develop new plastics that maybe help actually with the environment. So we produce plastics for solar cells, plastic that guide heat, so they reflect heat, or keep heat in a building, depending on the weather.
Wellingtonian PhD student Rebecca Sutton moved to Oxford University in the UK to study under world-leading scientist Henry Snaith.
It was very exciting going there, full stop.
Tonight's talk is being coordinated by McDiarmid's Institute and the Catalyst Group. It focuses on the role of women scientists and mathematicians and the race to make cleaner, cheaper, smarter energy and materials for a better world. Nina Amso, The South Today.
Police are looking for witnesses to an assault that took place in the Octagon and then again in the Upper George Street area last Saturday at approximately 1 a.m. A female and a male were involved in the incident where the woman was assaulted. It appears members of the public may have tried to intervene to assist, and another assault took place. Police would like to speak to those people or anyone that may have information that may assist their inquiry. Please contact Dunedin Central Police Station or call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. Right, yesterday's extreme weather event in Dunedin flooded businesses and properties, and it popped drain covers. The Dunedin City Council says it is early days, but staff are investigating to see what they can learn from the deluge.
Images like these from yesterday's extraordinary weather event in Dunedin have been flooding social media over the last 24 hours. Now with time to survey the damage, the Dunedin City Council says it was a short, sharp shock, but the city's infrastructure handled it.
So the city coped well in the circumstances, and we've got a bit of clean up to do. We had a number of people out yesterday afternoon, a little bit more clean up this morning, a lot of debris on the road and the drains, but we've got contractors out cleaning that up at the moment.
In the 2015 floods, the city's mud tanks were blamed as one area that didn't handle the sustained downpour. However, Richard Saunders says they worked well this time.
We're happy with their performance. So the contractors have been, our road contractor has done a lot of work to clean the city's mud tanks. We're over 50% of the way through a full clean of every tank, and we have focused on the areas we knew were at high risk of flooding, and they performed well yesterday. They didn't stop all of the surface flooding, but they certainly performed well to remove that water that was on the surface.
Estimates the council has received indicate around 10 centimetres of heavy rain and hail in some areas fell in a 5 to 10 minute window. Saunders says the council's call centre logged more than 100 calls in the 24 hours since the beginning of the deluge. He says council staff and contractors are going to discuss the event in the coming weeks to ascertain what worked and what can be done better next time. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Dunedin urgent doctors remain shut to deal with yesterday's flooding, and it is expected to reopen around about noon tomorrow. The Southern District Health Board is advising patients to either contact Healthline, their GP, or in an emergency only to go to the emergency department. Still to come on The South Today, Otago University's Department of Classics John Hall says Mr Donald Trump can be compared with a Roman leader who had the gift of oratory. And the food safety message, well, it just isn't getting through. Wearing a yoghurt bottle on your head will always attract the cops.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silberhorn.co.nz to order emu oil today.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Grandad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf, and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St. Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf with him.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
The University of Otago, New Zealand's only true collegiate university. For first-year students, the history, the expectations of excellence are
unfamiliar.
G'day, I'm next door.
Hi, next door. I'm Samantha Pascoe.
No, you're not. I'm Josh, Clyde, Science. And you are?
Sam, Hastings, Law and Arts.
Tane, Auckland, Commerce. Osaka, Greece, Classics. History.
Got the rallies coming to stay these holidays, but the lawn's looking a mess. Call the team at Really Lawn, open right through Christmas and New Year.
Arrow International knows what the essential ingredient is for accomplishing great projects, working with great people. 30 years on and 3,000 projects later, with 10 offices and 400 staff nationwide, a company who values partnerships with their clients and carries a strong reputation for passion, integrity, and the love of a challenge, excelling in the construction industry and helping to create, with our partners, more iconic New Zealand buildings.
Ecro Tech Limited have been supplying beekeeping equipment and honey products in New Zealand for over 100 years. A specialist manufacturer of hiveware and plastic products for the beekeeping industry. They are the leading supplier of beekeeping equipment nationwide. For all your beekeeping needs, visit ecrotech.co.nz or call 0800 11 7766.
Yes, Sunny Chin.
Neck, shoulder, back, sciatica, pain specialists. Innovative tools specifically designed to contour your grooves of depletion and excess muscle buildup.
Sunny Chin, it works.
We're staying with the South today. Arrowtown police had an interesting encounter with a hedgehog, which appeared intoxicated, so the officers went to their help. The resulting video has been viewed more than 90,000 times. The hedgehog was seen on Buckingham Street looking very drunk and walking into things. He was discovered to have a yoghurt bottle stuck on his head. After a brief foot pursuit, the disorientated hedgehog was cornered and the yoghurt bottle was removed. Officers provided some crime prevention advice in relation to going through other people's rubbish, and the hedgehog lived to fight another day. This isn't the first time police have dealt with disorientated hedgehogs, but they hope the prevention advice given will see a decrease in hedgehog food container related incidents. You could go your whole career and never read a story like that. Okay. So people have come from all over Otago and Southland to compete in the Mataura Licensing Trust Moonshine Trail over the weekend. Almost 400 people participated this year, with $2,000 raised for the Trail Trust. Sport Southland Chief Executive Brenda McDermott says the event takes a lot of preparation.
Oh, so we start with registrations probably back in August, September we start the registrations, but it's pretty manic in January, February, and certainly that last week we get a big rush, and as you'll see today, we've probably got another 80 or 90 competitors on the day.
The activities included everything from a 50-kilometre bike ride to a 5-kilometre walk or run. This year a new course was opened, the Water Race Trail. A portion of fees from previous years' competitions went towards the building of a new track. It is almost too obvious to say that American President Donald J. Trump has created waves on his way to the White House. Well, that hasn't let up, and now he is the US Commander-in-Chief. He has been compared to some autocratic, even dictatorial leaders in recent history. Famous names include Mussolini and Adolf Hitler. However, the head of Otago University's Department of Classics, John Hall, says Mr. Trump can be compared with a Roman leader who had the gift of oratory. He joins me in the studio now. This is fascinating, Dr. Hall, that you've made the comparison between Donald J. Trump and Cicero.
Yes, well, I'm interested in is the persuasive techniques that they use, and that there are some differences, but at heart they use some of the same emotional buttons, emotional triggers to try and get people to follow them.
Barack Obama was a really great orator. Cicero reportedly was a great orator too, but can Trump be called a great orator?
Not an orator, I don't think. As
No.
I say, more a manipulator.
Yes.
Something like the rhetoric of crisis is one thing that Cicero was very clever at exploiting.
Right. And we can see this very obviously in the way in which Donald Trump directs, the lions are at the gate, everything is wrong, everything's horrible. What
Right.
sort of manipulative language is he utilising, and how should we be aware of it?
Well, to take the example from Cicero, he would, in 63 BC, for example, he talked about a great conspiracy, a coup to overthrow the state, that Catiline was preparing slaves to fire the city, to create great devastation and destruction. And that kind of mentality is what Trump, I think, is trying to foster when he's saying terrorists are flooding in.
Right.
That we ought to be fearful. And
Right.
it's an emotional button, you're trading on fear.
Yes, and he is very good at trading for fear, for what he wants, what he needs, or those behind him, what they want and need. Should we be concerned?
Sometimes there are crises. And I mean, to some extent, these devices are not bad in themselves, it's how they're exploited. So you could say for Cicero, there was a legitimate conspiracy and people did need to take action. Whether that's the same for Trump is another matter, and you have to try and work out the facts. Unfortunately, there are also these alternative facts that we've been told about.
Yes, yes. As part of the news industry, I'm personally very offended by these alternate facts that are being presented to us. Cicero won people over with politeness and kind words. We're definitely not seeing such an ease of language with Donald Trump. He's far more bombastic. Should we be concerned with the level of threat that he offers?
I mean, Cicero was a polite negotiator in private, but he could be bombastic himself in public when he needed to be. He was accused of being a tyrant for quelling this coup. So there was, when somebody's accusing you of being a tyrant, you don't necessarily be polite. You have to sort of go out and show that you're not. But yes, I mean, I think there's a ratcheting up of angry rhetoric in the US, and particularly against Hillary, for example, Hillary Clinton, when he was trying to get his supporters to shout, lock her up, lock her up. I mean, that's a very aggressive kind of move.
It's a thing we should be very aware of. Dr. John Hall, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your time today. After the break on The South Today, a polarising sporting activity has many happy and not so happy in Invercargill, and we cast a weather eye to the horizon.
Emu oil has been used for centuries to support joint mobility and tired muscles. Also helpful for supporting healthy skin. Available as oil or in capsules. Go to www.silverhorn.co.nz to order emu oil today.
Got the rallies coming to stay these holidays, but the lawn's looking a mess? Call the team at Really Lawn, open right through Christmas and New Year.
Ecro Tech Limited have been supplying beekeeping equipment and honey products in New Zealand for over 100 years. A specialist manufacturer of hiveware and plastic products for the beekeeping industry. They are the leading supplier of beekeeping equipment nationwide. For all your beekeeping needs, visit ecrotech.co.nz or call 0800 11 7766.
Yes, Sonny Chin.
Neck, shoulder, back, sciatica, pain specialists. Innovative tools specifically designed to contour your grooves of depletion and excess muscle buildup.
Sonny Chin, it works.
Arrow International knows what the essential ingredient is for accomplishing great projects, working with great people. 30 years on and 3,000 projects later, with 10 offices and 400 staff nationwide, a company who values partnerships with their clients and carries a strong reputation for passion, integrity, and the love of a challenge, excelling in the construction industry and helping to create, with our partners, more iconic New Zealand buildings.
The University of Otago, an institute of world-class education and the social epicentre of the city, with outfits needed for more formal functions like the ball and for less formal functions like
The zoo? Are you sure?
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah, Dad, you'll definitely see me. I'm the one in the yellow and blue face paint and the onesie in the zoo.
Thank you for staying with the South today. An historic house in Invercargill is getting a facelift. The Anderson Park House Maintenance Project has begun, commencing with external repair work on spoutings and shutters, with work taking place over the next few months. The building has been out of use for over 3 years due to the need for earthquake strengthening, but that $800,000 project has yet to begin. Over 200 cowboys and cowgirls came to Invercargill over the weekend to ride horses and to rope cattle. The occasion was the 60th year of the Southland Rodeo, and it comes at a time when calls for the sport to be banned appear to be growing. Here's Ruby Spink.
Horses, cattle, dust and dirt. The 60th annual Southland Rodeo on Sunday was not a place for the faint-hearted.
It was extremely hard conditions with a 60k westerly wind all day, the odd coastal shower, but we had 230 cowboys that endured the weather and a very hardy crowd that came and viewed.
Rodeo has its fans, but that doesn't include the animal rights groups, SAFE, the SPCA and Farm Watch, which organised an online petition in 2015 calling for rodeos to be banned. Although around 40,000 people signed, rodeos continue as before. Invercargill Vegan Society founder Jordan Wyatt believes it's time for the government to act and ban the rodeos.
Well, rodeo is just so unnecessary. I mean, there's a lot of forms of animal cruelty in this world, and just animal cruelty for the sake of our entertainment or as a sport. As a vegan, as an animal lover, I just think it's so unnecessary, and when there's no animal welfare organisations that are for rodeo, that SPCA is totally wanting it banned, SAFE, the Invercargill Vegan Society, you know, it's just unnecessary cruelty, and of all the forms of exploitation of animals, things like rodeo have got to be some of the most trivial forms in how we hurt and use and abuse animals.
He says there are better things to do in Invercargill and Southland that don't involve using animals for our entertainment. But Southland Rodeo Association President Dave Marshall says the number of people against rodeo in the country is far outnumbered by those who enjoy the sport. And he says conditions for the animals have improved.
Look, rodeo's improved. We've accepted the fact that as time has changed, everything has. Sheep shearing's changed, handling of cattle, full stop, whether it be on a farm, whether it be loading cattle to go to the freezing works, everything has changed, and rodeo has changed with that.
And Marshall says anyone who breaks the sport's strict regulations risks being prosecuted and fined. I'm Ruby Spink for The South Today.
Time now to recap tonight's top stories on The South Today. Anti-vivisectionists have left a bloody valentine for Otago University's Professor Richard Blakey in protest against the proposed $50 million animal research lab. Queenstown is hosting more than 500 scientists from all around the world for the biggest Advanced Materials and Nanotechnology conference in the Southern Hemisphere. And yesterday's extreme weather in Dunedin flooded businesses and properties and popped drain covers. However, the DCC says the system coped rather well. Time for a look now what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. Good day to you, Barry Stewart.
Hello, Craig. Calder Stewart's plan for the long-awaited Carrisbrook development have been revealed, and we can talk about those in the paper tomorrow.
Oh, good.
We also revealed the new site for the Dunedin Urgent Doctors, moving, of course, from the Hanover Street premises. Freddie Mercury impersonator Steve Larkins of Dunedin has been named a finalist in a prestigious cruise ship Entertainer of the Year award, so we follow his fortunes.
Marvellous.
Marvellous. DCC have been urged to do more to protect the South Dunedin sand dunes from coastal erosion. And in sport, we talked to Mike Hesson, the All Black coach, ahead of the series against South Africa. We also have a look at the University of Otago Oval and see what they're up to in preparation for the Test match next month, something like a village green.
Plenty of people doing plenty of things.
Indeed.
Lots of good to report. Thank you so very
Thanks,
much.
Craig.
Time now to have a look at tomorrow's weather.
This weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn Sportsville.
Starting with today's southern views, Lake Wakatipu from Queenstown Hill. There's a flourishing lavender thatch in Invercargill and an almost perfect sky in Dunedin. Looks a bit like under the dome. Looking at the situation, a cool southwesterly airflow blows over the south, a few showers, but they'll clear tonight. Another weak front moves past tomorrow, bringing southwesterlies, but the anticyclone will move in to bring a longer spell of fine weather. To the southern look, going through Balclutha, Catmans, Gore and Lumsden, decreasing southwesterlies, a little bit of cloud, 15 degrees pretty much across the board. To the central look, Alexandra, moderate westerlies, fine and 20. The same for Queenstown, Te Anau, 15, and Wanaka, moderate westerlies, fine and 19. Pretty good place. And to Oamaru, moderate nor'easterlies, fine and 18. Omarama, moderate westerlies, fine, 19. Timaru, moderate nor'easterlies, fine and 19. And the same for Twizel. In Dunedin tonight, Otipoti, it's fine tonight with light nor'easterlies, 7, maybe 8 degrees, and Wednesday, mild nor'easterlies, high cloud, 6 and 17 for you, fine by the evening. And Thursday and Friday, mostly fine and sunny, moderate easterlies, a breezy afternoon, but pleasant days, 9 and 16. Invercargill, fine tonight, high cloud increasing, let's say it's 10 degrees, and Wednesday, cloudy, passing showers, cool southwesterlies, clearing by the afternoon, easing, we're looking at 5 and 14 degrees. Thursday and Friday though, mostly fine and sunny, light winds but from the northerly quarter, mild daytime temperatures, cool at night though, 7 and 17. And that is your Tuesday, your Valentine's Day for 2017. On behalf of the good men and women and the hard-working team of the South Today, I'm Craig Story. Good evening.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.